A well-educated black man was Mr. Smith. We called him EC. He come out of West Virginia State, very, very educated, very smart. A lot of the students, I never had him per se as a teacher, but I had him as my 6 week summer school teacher. He was my summer school teacher. And you talking about took you through stuff for education wise, very smart. But like Charles had him as a teacher, he could ask you one question or two questions, and it would take 3 sheets to answer that question because he wanted in detail. He wanted you to research. He wanted you to look it up. That when you finished them 2 questions, you knew what he had asked you. And a lot of people didn't like him for that reason, but they respected him for that reason because he made you use your mind and when you were doing stuff like this. Now, Mr. Harless, he was the principal at the junior high, and he was another one, sort of like Mr. Allen, where anything went on, whether it was racial, not racial, a problem as we call bullying today, they are the ones you went to, and they either contacted your parents or they called you in the office, and they got it settled. Because they didn't believe in letting it linger, and as we say, fester. They didn't. Uh, uh,
Oh, this is great.
this is a picture of Mr. Allen.
Did he write to you on that?
Uh huh.
Is that his writing?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Ashby E. Allen.
This lady right here, Miss Parks, her, uh, Miss, Miss Dorsey, Miss Parks and Miss Stark. Those are my lovers, because when I told you I had to be voted on whether I was gonna walk with the class, these 2 teachers were in charge of the other teachers deciding whether they voted whether I could walk with the class. And Miss Stark and Miss Parks were the one who went to bat for me to walk with my class. And I was able to walk with my class when I got my blank diploma. Nobody knew I got a blank diploma, but just the teachers that I had to go to summer school. But that night, no one in our stadium or in the class knew I had a blank diploma.
Which is the other teacher?
Miss Stark and Miss Parks.
And what do you remember about them as teachers?
Oh, wonderful. They were educators. They taught you pronunciation. Miss Stark was your literature teacher. And she was the type, she took time out with students because even back in our time, there were kids that had speech problems. She took time to work with them, to help them to pronunciate, to sound out what you were supposed to do. Miss Parks was more like a language teacher, learning your verbs, your adverbs. And you never knew how that would take so much effect on you as an adult going out into the work world. And I never forget when I went back to school for executive secretaries, just knowing your verbs adverbs, nouns, preposition. I was so much ahead of the class, and I was the oldest because there were kids in there didn't even know what a noun was or a pronoun was or how to put a prepositional phrase together or know a prepositional phrase. And I always say it's the teachers that taught you, and you don't realize how much impact they had on you till you get out there and really have to use it. So yeah, I love Miss Parks and Miss Starr. In fact, the daughter that I had that she was stillborn, you gave them a name. I named her Felicia. Felicia, but Miss Parks and Miss Stark will always be my heart because they were two teachers that, to me, were dedicated to their students, and if they seen a student having problems, they would tell you, it's, I'll work with you if you're willing to work. Yeah. So did you have any other questions?
Not for right now.
Okay.
It's a brilliant interview, I
Yeah.
must say.
Oh,
The cheerleaders. So you say the football team was integrated.
oh yeah. The cheerleaders, even to when we left, when I was in high school, the cheerleaders and all, we had one black cheerleader. Her name was Sandra Williams.
Say that again.
Sandra Williams was her name.
You had one.
She was black. She was the cheerleader. And then overall, there was always one black cheerleader. I don't know why or whatever. Now, whether there were other black cheerleaders in the years after me, I don't know, because I was mainly gone away from around here. But I know at that time Sandra Williams was a cheerleader, and I'm pretty sure there's always been at least one black cheerleader, but it was mainly white. But you always had one, if not two. I don't, yeah, like I say, it might have been more, but I wasn't around. And even when I moved back, I would always just see one. But, no. But now the football team and basketball team was always where it was mixed. Always.
Track.
Track, it was always mixed.
Sorry.
Track team was always mixed. There was, it was just like the guys always would go like maybe from football to basketball to track. And you had some that played all three of them, some played just specific sports or whatever like that. But no, they was always integrated in their sports and stuff like that, always.
And the girls, were they playing sports?
No. Back then, you didn't have like girls basketball like you do today. You didn't really have no sports. Because even back then, right maybe the year of 67, 68, you didn't wear pants to school. You wore slacks under a dress or skirt and took them off. You did not wear pants in school. The girls did. But you could wear them and take them off and put them in your locker, but you weren't allowed to keep them on like today. Yeah, I know it sounds silly, but no, that was one of the rules.
What was the town of Mount Hope like?
The town of Mount Hope, I guess you would say, was booming because it was sort of like a coal mining town, but it had a lot of activity and stuff going on. And you had so many people there in Mount Hope, just like here in Glen Jean. You had so many people, but people move away, because jobs weren't here, or after graduation, a lot of the kids and stuff moved away, or they don't move back, And I always say a lot of West Virginia, their problem is pay. You can go right over the line to Ohio or go to the city and you make more than than you do right here. I always say that even to now.
Were the coal mines not paying well then? Or?
Oh yeah, now the coal mines were paying well, but a lot of people weren't. A lot of the young ones didn't want to go into coal mines. A lot of them, I think, it was more like follow the family. If you had family in the coal mines, then a lot of the guys went in the coal mine. But a lot of them, if you think about it, back in the '60s, they went to the service. That's when Vietnam War and stuff was going on. So like Charles graduated and went to Vietnam, went to the Marines, and from there he served in Vietnam and stuff for 2 years. But if you didn't go to the service, a lot of them went to the coal mines. It was after their services and stuff like this that a lot of them started going to the cities and all. Where now a lot of the kids from high school go straight out of West Virginia, or if they not going to college, because you get better jobs, better paying jobs. So, but back then it was mainly the military or the coal mines.
Speaking of Charles, we never did get to hear about your love affair.
Oh, Charles and I met. I was in the 10th, he was in the 12th, and we are people of opposite tracks. He's the quiet one, I'm the mouthy one. He is the shy one, I'm the outgoing person. But he was always in class, and I came in and I said, can I sit down? And he said, you're already here. So I sit down. But he said I would work his nerves because I would just talk. But he was, Charles comes from a large family of 16. But it's 3 different sets. Because Charles's mother has 7. Charles's stepfather had, I think it's 4 or 5. But then Charles's mother and stepfather together had so many. It ended up into 16. But so Charles was like, with nobody, even to a lot of today, say, you and Charles still together? Because nobody never thought me and Charles would stay together. Because we were so opposite. So opposite. And, but Charles went to the service after he graduated. And then when he graduated and stuff like this, I was still in the 10th, so by the time I graduated, I had married. Charles and I wasn't seeing each other, and then I had married. And then I had 2 kids, and a third one. No, I had 2 children, because by the time I graduated, I had the second one. And then after I got married, I had my son. So you see, I have a 52-year-old daughter. And then I have one daughter going to be 50 in December, and my baby is 46. So that's the reason I say I started young, So everybody kept saying, you don't have no daughter 52. Yes, I do. So that's where I just came from, seeing my children or whatever like that. But Charles, he doesn't have any. And he raised mine.
So you got together a little later?
Oh yeah, it was like after, he went to the service and came back, and I got married, and I was married for 5 years on my first marriage. And after I divorced, then Charles and I got back together. He was in New York, and I was still here. He asked me did I want to move, and I said, oh, maybe I should, to get away, because everything was going on. I had lost my mom, I had went through a divorce, my niece had wrecked my car, and it was just so much going on at one time. I moved, and Charles moved me to New Jersey, and that's where I was for 20 years, me and him together. And then when I came back to see about my brother, then Charles came back a month and a half later, and we've been here ever since.
What did that feel like coming back to West Virginia?
A big change. A huge change, because when you've been in the city for the hustle and bustle, it's a total big change to come back here because it's so laid back. It's so nonchalant, and it's just a cultural change per se because you're so used to being able to put your hand on something, where here you don't. And here, if you don't have a car, you out of luck. Yeah. So it was a big difference.
How was it when you moved away?
A big difference. Because all I knew was black and whites. I never knew nothing about no Jamaicans. I ain't know nothing about no Trinidadians. You know, all I knew, you black or you white. Well, no, you're not. You know, you could be English, or that you talking about multicultures. I had to learn because you had to learn their language, their speech, because you're trying to figure out what is they trying to say, you know. And but it was a great experience. I'll tell anyone, if you can in your life, to go somewhere out of your state, because there is a world outside your state. And it was because, like, my children, when we moved to Jersey, was all little. But it was an experience, a learning experience for them, because they grew up in the city, where back here, I don't think they would have got exposed to as much as they did there. As far as cultural backgrounds, and it's just a whole different ball game. And like I said, I came back here because of my brother. But I'll tell anybody, Carrie, if you're not ready to come back and settle down, West Virginia is not the place to come. It isn't. Because it's so much of a slower pace than what you used to. And that's just like me and my niece. When we went back to Jersey, like we said, we couldn't go back and live no more because she used to live there too. It's such a different things now because you don't used to the hustle bustle. And that's what it is up there. It's a hustle bustle. And, you know, and when I left out yesterday morning and when I was going in Friday evening, I told her ain't no way in the world I could deal with the traffic because you bumper to bumper. And there's people makes this hour, a half, 2 hour trip every day, going in or coming out, you know. And I told her, just like when I moved back here, I drove back and forth to Charleston for work because I didn't know anything around here. I knew I could get a job temping. Oh God, but that was the salary shock. I'm used to making $10, $12, $15 an hour as a temp. Here you get paid $5. So, you know, it was a culture shock, you know. But everybody said, you drive to Charleston? Well, to me, driving to Charleston 45 minutes wasn't nothing. When you're used to driving an hour and 15 minutes, and that's mainly in traffic, you know. But, yeah, it was a big deal.
What a great interview. What we forget, Michael? What, got any burning questions there?
Oh, I don't know where to start. You're so interesting.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. You almost never hear this kind of a perspective of somebody, although I interviewed a woman once who was born in Tucker County, which is a very, very beautiful county.
I'll probably stop this so that we have more of you. I'll stop and thank you very, very much.
You're welcome. I don't know.
It was great.
Well, I'm glad.